Everybody, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. Let's get into Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 3, Episode 20, The Reunion Part 1. If you are brand new to my channel and you enjoyed the content that you see tonight, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, hop down into the comment section because it's always a good time in the comment section. Let's get into it, y'all. This reunion was a lot. It was definitely a lot. I know that it initially was just the entire cast on stage. They didn't really break down a lot of stuff like some people were initially hoping. You know how they typically on reunions they like break off and let's have this couple, this couple, this couple. They didn't do that. So but everybody had to sit out and listen to everybody else's like business initially. So let's get into it. They didn't know that Carlos was going to be the host this year. I loved Carlos as a host. I think more showrunners, executive producers, creators of the show need to be host of the reunion because they asked all the right questions. Carlos has seen all the footage. Carlos is not scared of these people the way that some of these other hosts are. I think Egypt did a good job the first time she did it for season 1, but Egypt wasn't really ready to rock the boat like Carlos did. Carlos showed up with receipts. Carlos showed up with all the tea that we didn't know, and Carlos pressed and didn't let Marcel or Melody back up off of some of the questions he was asking. So let's get into it, y'all. First things first, Latisha looked a mess. Latisha looked an absolute mess. I don't know why she had like body glitter on. It gave me very much Claire's Bath and Body Works shimmer, but she has so much on. Her hair has some like weird hump in her. I don't know if it was a wig or a weave, but she had some like weird hump. The dress, everything looked a mess. Everything looked a mess. What is going on here? Kimmy looked great. I feel like Kimmy always looks good. Her hair always looks good. Melody looked fine. I didn't care for Melody's wig. And then the guys all look nice. Marcel's suits, no, they be tight, but that's what it is. But Tisha, all right. So Tisha said that she is done with Twitter. She no longer gets on Twitter because she can't take the hateful comments. Whenever I hear reality stars say that, to me it gives, I don't get on social media because I don't want to see people call me out on my bullshit. Because it's not like Tisha's said that, yeah, the comments were hurtful about, my body or my looks or anything. I didn't want to deal with the fact that people didn't like me is basically what she was saying, because she's always on bull on this show. That's what it really is. So we get into it. So Carlos asked Melody and Marcel if they regretted signing on to do the show since when they were married, is when they pitched the show, since they are now divorced. So he's like, you guys pitched the show as a couple, you're now divorced, do you regret doing it? Melody said no, because she feels that the positives that they have gained financially, like the way that their careers have soared, yada yada yada, she feels that those positives outweigh the negatives. Melody, she enjoys the fame. Melody enjoys the fame. She enjoys, the popularity, the access that she has now into the industry. So for her, she's like, no, she doesn't regret it at all because, in her mind, things worked out the way that they were supposed to for her. Her career has blossomed to a point that she's okay with losing her husband in the process. Marcel regrets it because he feels that he regrets it because he feels that he lost his family in the process. So Marcel basically blames the show. Basically, he blames the show for filming their lives and basically allowing him to get caught. That's really what it comes down to. So, oh my God, I feel like something on there. So he said he only did the show for Melody. Because when they talked 6, 7, 8 years ago, she always mentioned wanting to be on TV. So he feels that even against his better judgment, his best wishes, he did the show for her because he was a supportive husband. And he feels that if it were not for the show, they would still be married. Melody disagrees. Martell feels that he has built the Melody as Hope brand into what it is because he pushed her as a husband and he agreed to sign on to this show with her. Carlos said that Marcel did not like the initial title of the show. He sent a scathing email to the show or to the network, like, why is this the name of it? Marcel said it's because he thought that they were doing a show about construction. He didn't know that they were going to become a soap opera reality show. And then Carlos poses the question on how do they think people feel about the fact that they have now become the show's looked at it in a more negative light. So I will admit, like, I started watching the show earlier this summer, and I binge watched it. And initially, that first season, it did seem more about business and stuff, and now it has become more drama. Um, Maurice said that he feels that people are kind of missing all the good things that they did. Marcel points out that, how their careers have blossomed. Maurice has become a lawyer. Tisha got her second master's. Melody is now an actress and a singer. They have all built businesses, gotten a lot of big opportunities. So he feels that people are overlooking that. And I'm like, no, we're not overlooking it. It's the fact that it's not highlighted. You know what I mean? I mean, they had an entire episode that was rehashed of clips from Melody and Martell's fights over the years. So it's kind of hard to say that, the show is still a very positive show and people are choosing to overlook that because we can only go by what we're actually seeing. So Carlos asks Maurice why he does not defend Kimmy when she is called a side chick. And I've been saying this for a while. I feel like all the hostility, the anger that Kimmy has towards everybody that calls her a side chick should all be directed over to her husband, who never defends her. Maurice said he doesn't need to defend something that is impossible. He said he has a U-Haul receipt that will prove the day he moved out of Michigan. And my thing is, I feel like there has to be some truth to it because Kimmy gets so offended. My thing is, if you know deep down you're not a side chick girl, why do you care if other people are saying it? Like, all that matters is what is going on between you and your husband. But I also feel like Maurice feeling like he doesn't have to defend her. I think that's stupid. Why would you be like? Because let's be real, the side chick conversation has come up numerous times with Kimmy, like in a group setting where Kimmy is like kind of often left to defend herself, and it shouldn't be that way. So Carlos then begins to ask, like, where did the rumor come from? Martel said he heard that from Marceau. Marceau said, no, 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 not me, never, no. So Kimmy says that she doesn't think any of the jokes are funny. And she's bothered at the fact that everybody constantly talks about it. She didn't like the scene where Martell and Melody talk about it in the doctor's office. She didn't like what happened in Vegas when they all talked about it. She didn't like that Melody joked that, Kimmy's touchy-feely with Martell. It's like she doesn't find it funny. And my thing is, if these are supposed to be your friends, then they should know that you don't find it funny, and they should be more receptive to that, and they should be more respectful of that. But let's be real, a lot of this is drummed up and heightened for TV. Like, Carlos called it out best. These people now that they've been on TV for a couple years, personalities are more heightened. That ego comes out when you start to get a fan base and different things like that happen. So I think that's what happened. People are yucking it up more than they probably did initially for the TV time. So Maurice said that he never got back together with Kiowa. Once he filed for divorce and he moved down to Florida, that they never doubled back. They never had any type of relationship from there. He then met Kimmy a year later. No. No. He didn't start dating Kimmy until almost a year later. Kimmy says that Kiowa believes that, when you file for divorce, depending on your state, there is a 6-month period that allows you to have some type of reconciliation where you can call off the divorce, no harm, no foul. Kiowa feels that Kimmy um got into she hindered that, she got in the way of that, and that's why they were never able to reconcile. They then asked Maurice, did Kiowa do something unforgivable in the marriage, and that's why he left? He said yes. I'm assuming Kiowa cheated. So then they asked Tisha, have you ever heard this? Tisha goes in a roundabout way and said that she doesn't know the timeline and she doesn't believe it. But again, we saw the scene with Tisha, where Patricia is saying that Tisha said it, and Tisha say, no, I didn't say it, Patricia said it. So I feel like Tisha and Marcel do joke about that. They do say it. They have said it in mixed company, and that's why everybody else talks about it constantly. It's not a secret. Like, but my whole thing is like, y'all know that it pisses Kimmy off. Don't bring it up no more. Don't bring it up anymore. So then we have Carlos playing back some moments of the ups and downs of the host relationship. I don't understand why they didn't just have Melody and Martell out there for that, because I understand why Marcel was out there, but I feel like a lot of that, like Kimmy and Maurice didn't need to be on stage for this. But Melody said that Martell contradicts himself a lot. That's what she got from watching the package. For her, the highlight was, their youngest child being born, but it just shows Martell lying and contradicting himself back and forth. Martell said he is not a cheater. Not at heart. No, not at heart. So he said that the next woman that he gets with, he won't cheat on her. And I said, Lord. So Melody said that Martell was leaving the house during the pandemic, going to see his mistress. And Carlos was mortified. So Carlos said, where were you going? Marcel said he was going to the gym. And everybody was like, no. At the height of the pandemic, the gyms were closed. Marcel said, not his gym. I said, damn, now you don't went from calling this woman a peasant to the gym. Because that's where you went and got your exercise in. I said, damn. So Carlos said, well, let's break down this timeline, right? So Carlos is like, so you're putting, your wife and your young kids at risk to go out in a pandemic where everything was closed, everything was shut down, like you had to wear a mask, and you're going across town to go have sex with this woman, clearly unprotected, and bring back whatever germs she got. Because let's be real, during the pandemic, you don't know who was safe and who wasn't. I didn't see a lot of people during, the height of the pandemic because I didn't trust them. Like, my best friends were still going out to dinner. They were still going out to clubs. Like, they were still doing stuff that I was like, this is like not cool. Going to getting nails done, hair done. So there are people that, I fell back from because they were doing stuff during the pandemic. We didn't see my brother for, God, almost 2 years because of the way things worked out with his wedding and then the pandemic coming a couple months later. And then we just saw him again this year, like a couple months ago, like in the summer. So it's like there are people that are being super careful, and then there are people like Martell. So then Martell is like, oh, when you do that, you make it sound so bad. It is bad. It is exhausting watching Martell talk and talk in circles and kind of feel like everything that he does is justified. Instead of him just being like, I cheated, I got another woman pregnant, that's just what it is. He's like a compulsive liar because he will sit flat out there and just lie for no reason when everybody knows the truth. It's stupid. It's not funny. It doesn't make people be like, Marcel's so crazy. It's not. It doesn't make Melody look bad. It makes you look like a fucking psycho. A psycho. So Marcel said he was not sleeping with this other woman. Carlos said, well, how did she get pregnant? Marcel said he doesn't know. Let's do the timeline. So Carlos said, well, how old is your son? And Marcel said he's going to keep that information to himself. And it's like stuff like that. I don't know if Marcel really thinks that it is making him look funny or quirky or whatever, but like you just look like a fucking idiot. So then Melody talks about how there was a situation where The mistress, I honestly don't remember her name, where the mistress was calling Marcel's phone. And it was like he had his phone, I guess, like in the kitchen or whatever. And this unknown number kept calling, kept calling, kept calling. So she finally answered, and they hung up. They called back. She answered again. It turns into, who is this or who is this? Go get Martel. Martel refused to come to the phone. So I guess she just kept calling, kept calling. Melody and Marcel got into it this night, and this is where the rumor led that Marcel and Melody were messing around because Marcel started that. So Carlos asked, like, what was going on with that? Marcel said that Marcel called and apologized. Marcel said, I did not apologize because I didn't do anything. So Marcel's version of the story, oh, well, first, Marcel's version of the story is that Marcel invited Melody out for drinks, which that does sound bad, but not really because I feel like they're business partners or they were business partners at some time. So, but whatever. So Marceau said what happened is the night that of the same night of the text messages that Melody and Marcel were arguing, Miss Vanessa, Melody's mother, called Marceau. Can you go check on them? It sounds really bad. They're arguing, yada, yada, yada. He started to call Martel. Martel never answered the phone. He called Melody. Melody answered, and they met at Chick-Fil-A. They were in the parking lot. They talked for a bit. He asked her, did she want to go get a drink? Kind of like to calm down, whatever the case. He said there was no malicious intent with it. So then Tisha is like, you invited her out for drinks. And I feel like Tisha just wants to be mad and she just wants to make, like, she wants to interject herself into the argument. Like, you know exactly what that man is saying. Like, the story that he's recanting, nothing about that story should make you even start to question him as to whether or not he was messing around with Melody. So Melody is like, let me tell you what happened. She said she resaid everything that Martel said. I'm sorry, everything that she said everything that Marcel said, and then she said that there was never anything inappropriate with them. There was never anything like nothing has ever happened with them. And she's like, appalled that Marcel is even accusing his friend of messing with his wife at the time. So Marcel was like, I was just being a friend. And everybody on stage was like, that's what friends do. And Marcel said, I would expect you to do the same thing. If I get into it with my wife and someone calls you and says, yo, I would expect you to call her, check on her too, because we're all friends. And I'm like, see, that's how you know that Marcel just be like, saying bullshit just to say it. You know what I mean? Nothing that he says he honestly and truly believes. A lot of it is a matter of, I just want to say this to kind of deflect from the fact that I cheated on my wife and had a baby. So then we get into this whole situation of whether or not Melody had cheated on Martel. So Martel is saying that Melody left him because he kept asking her for fellatio, which we know is one of the reasons he said that he did go cheat because she wouldn't do it. Melody said that, no, Martel said that Melody was doing it to other men. Melody said she absolutely was not. She said that while they were separated, someone did it to her. Martel looked shocked and appalled and said, that's not what you told me. I have the recording. So Melody said very confidently, go get the recording then. And I feel like anytime somebody double downs and tells you if you got a recording to go get it, that person is not lying. So Carlos asked Melody, when they were legally separated, when they were legally married, did she sleep with someone else? Melody said no. She said she moved out. The phone situation or something happened in October. She said 2017. So this is clearly before the show even started. But she said Martel cheated on her October 2017. December 2017, she went and got an apartment. In January, she started talking to somebody. They dated for 3 or 4 weeks. She said that person gave her fellatio. She does not remember if she gave him fellatio. And I was with Carlos on the you gonna remember putting your mouth on somebody, girl. So how do you remember that night? You remember vividly that that man went down on you, but you don't remember if you reciprocated. Don't do that, Melly. But she's standing on that she does not remember. And then she tells Martell if she did say it, okay, then it happened, but she does not remember saying it. Martell swears he has this recording. We didn't hear the recording, but he swears he has that recording. She said she also, when they broke up, she did not plan on getting back together with him. That was never her intention. She thought they were done. So apparently Martell has been cheating on her for years, and to she stayed with him because she knows he's a person that has imperfections, and she wanted to give him a chance to kind of correct it. She said, but after Martell spoke with like some older men and kind of basically, he tried to make it seem like Melody just had to be okay with the fact that he was going to cheat and sleep with other women. I was like, damn. So it kind of seems like, to me at least, it seems like him having that baby and embarrassing her because they were on TV. It was more of the embarrassment part that made her be like, F it, I'm finally done. This is it. So Marcel said he never thought that they would break up and divorce. And then it comes out, so are you cheating with this other, is it that you couldn't stop cheating, or you couldn't stop cheating with this particular woman? And Marcel said it was that particular woman. They had a personal connection. And Carlos tells him, for somebody that went out and was cheating during the pandemic, you calling her all these names, the side chick, the peasant, the coleslaw, whatever, it's because you love this woman, you're in love with this woman, and you didn't want to admit it. So he asked Martell if you had met this woman before meeting Melody, would you have married her instead? And Martell, being as this whole long drawn out, like he's thinking situation, and Kimmy is like, the silence is deafening, because he's doing it to get underneath Melody's skin. And like, it is like, Jesus, wow. Wow. First part of the reunion was super, 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 super good, y'all. So, again, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video, and I will catch you guys next week for part 2.